Ever since we got Mega Evolutions of the Kanto starters in X and Y, and Megas of the Hoenn starters in Oraz, the fans have naturally wanted to see more starters get the Mega treatment as well, and in this video, giving more of the starters Mega Evolutions is exactly what we're gonna do. I actually started this a while back in a previous video with the Johto starters, but I decided to bring this series back because we probably are going to be getting more Mega Evolved starters pretty soon in Legend ZA. We don't know which ones at this point, obviously, so while we are still in the dark on that, I figured I would take a crack at creating some Megas of my own. I have two different starter sets that I'm going to be covering today, and that would be the Paldea starters and the Sinnoh starters. I'm going to start with a Paldea starter, and then just alternate between the two as we go along, so the first one that we're going to look at here is Meowscarada, and this is what a Mega Meowscarada could possibly look like. As the most recent starters leading into ZA where Mega Evolution is going to come back, the Paldea starters felt like a prime candidate to give Megas to here, and because of that, they could also have a solid shot at possibly getting some Megas in Legend ZA. That we will have to wait and see on to know for sure, but this Mega Meowscarada definitely shows off the potential that they have, and honestly takes a design that I personally dislike pretty significantly and turns it into something that I actually think is genuinely cool. That would be courtesy of, as always, Rgreywind, who I commissioned for the designs in this video, so be sure to check him out with the links in the description. And in regards to Meowscarada, my idea for this design was to go in kind of a Mega Charizard X direction with it, where the significant change to its design comes in the form of the color of its body. Just like Charizard, I wanted to go with a black color scheme, not only to fit with the grass dark type that this Pokemon still has, but also, in going along with Meowscarada's magician origins, I wanted to give it a black suit and tie motif, to resemble the black suits that magicians are stereotypically depicted in. Additionally, this design also works in the idea of a black cat as well, which is also another significant cultural icon that just adds more to this design and works well with everything else that's going on here. Finally, in the Mega form of this Pokemon, its floating flower has been replaced by some diamond-shaped energy that it is able to freely direct at its opponents. While Meowscarada already does have diamonds in its design, this particular feature comes from playing cards that magicians will often use to perform tricks with, which is probably where Meowscarada gets it as well. In the stat department, I would probably give Mega Meowscarada a boost to its attack as well as both of its defenses, because its attack is already one of its best stats, so giving it a boost there just helps it to be even better, while its defenses are its weakest stats, so giving it a boost there obviously helps to combat that problem and just make this Pokemon all the more well-rounded and just better. I think that would work pretty well, but with that said, we are now going to go ahead and take a look at Sinnoh's grass starter, and that would of course be the ever-cool Torterra. And being as cool as it is, that just makes the idea of a Mega Torterra, specifically one that could look like this, all the more exciting. Since Sinnoh just had its time in the spotlight pretty recently, I sadly do not feel like we will be getting Megas of the Sinnoh starters anytime soon, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't come back around to it eventually, because I would flip for a Mega Torterra that looked something like this. It is still a grass ground type, but as you can probably tell, the little ecosystem that Torterra has on its back has grown substantially. The spikes on its shell have turned into a fully fledged mountain, there's more shrubs and greenery growing all over it, and it's even got a second tree now too. Its shell as a whole has also grown a bit too, and in particular, I was inspired by the way Gigantamax Venusaur looks with the flower that is basically draped over its whole body. And so I wanted to do something similar with Torterra's shell here, and with that, it also gains just a bit more of that globe shape to it that ties in with its world turtle inspiration. With a big shell like that, a big chunk of its stat boost would probably also have to go into its defenses, but I'd also like to give it a little more attack as well, so that it at least has something to work with in regards to offense. Torterra has always been one of my more favorite fully evolved grass starters, and with a Mega, it would obviously be all the cooler. So I hope that Megas will be able to stick around, and we'll get new ones at least every couple of years or so that when we do eventually get the chance to revisit Sinnoh once again, the Sinnoh starters will be able to have at least a fair shot at having their time in the spotlight with regards to Mega Evolution. With the grass types taken care of now though, we are now going to transition to the fire types and begin with Mega Skeledirge. It retains the Fire Ghost typing, but just like with Mega Meowscarada, I personally feel like it upgrades Skeledirge's design in a way that I personally can really get behind, even though I was already pretty good with its base form. I really like how it looks on its hind legs, for instance, and then the really big new feature here are its fiery wings. These come from one of Skeledirge's likely inspirations, the Cocoyona, which is a crocodile-like creature from Spanish folklore. One key trait of the Cocoyona that Skeledirge does not have though are wings, so it actually gets those wings in this Mega Evolution in the form of flames, and with regards to the design specifically, those come from the Firebird that sits on Skeledirge's nose. This all felt like it worked really well in my opinion because it allows Skeledirge to pull even more from one of its inspirations and gives it a new feature that works really well for a Mega Evolution, but at the same time, due to that bird element, it still feels plausible and natural. So it really just checks off all of the different boxes that you want a Mega Evolution to check off, in my opinion. Another one of those boxes that we do still need to look at though are its stats, and with the stat boost that Skeledirge would get with a Mega Evolution, I feel like I would give the biggest bump to its special attack. And this would coincide with how its signature move, Torch Song, also raises its special attack whenever it is used. So between the move and the stat boost, Mega Skeledirge could really do some serious damage. So it would genuinely be great battle-wise, and in my opinion, design-wise as well. So overall, it would just be great to be able to see a Mega Evolution like this at some point. Switching over to the Sinnoh side of things though, it is now time to take a look at Mega Infernape. Now, of the 6 starters that we're looking at today, Infernape might be the easiest one to give a Mega to, because it already has the perfect concept for one just waiting to be taken advantage of. You see, Infernape is based on Sun Wukong from Journey to the West, which just so happens to be who Goku is based on from Dragon Ball. And Goku basically has a Mega Evolution of his own when he goes Super Saiyan. So Mega Infernape's main inspiration is basically just it going Super Saiyan 2, which, like I mentioned before, just works great for a Mega. It remains firefighting type, and I have been keeping the same types for these Megas because they're already all dual types to begin with, and realistically, they're just not doing anything different enough with their designs to warrant a type change, which might not be as fun, but it's also probably the more realistic situation, to be honest. I also imagine that in Mega Infernape's case, its boost in stats would primarily go to its attack and special attack, which is not only fitting for the concept, but also works great with Infernape's fire-fighting typing, as it essentially allows both of its types to take advantage of the stat boost. So while, as I mentioned earlier with Torterra, the timing isn't exactly great for the Sinnoh starters to get Megas right now, this is kind of why I feel like Megas should continue to have a presence in future games, because there is so much potential with it for so many Pokemon, and I feel like every generation should at least have a fair shot to take advantage of it at some point. As we get into the Water-type Megas now, if you've liked what you've seen so far, consider giving my merch store a look. It directly supports the production of everything you see on my channel, and the merch itself is not just your typical YouTuber merch, but full-blown plushies and trading cards of the Fakemon from my videos. The plushies are super soft and squishy, the cards are super high quality and a lot of fun to open, and as mentioned, it all directly goes into making this content possible and helping it to be better and better. You can check all of that out with the link in the description, so be sure to do so and grab something for yourself. Thanks a ton to everyone who has, and now let's get back to the Megas. Now we have got the water types to talk about, and Quaquaval is up first. I would have to say that Quaquaval is definitely my least favorite of the bunch that we're covering in this video, so using its design to make something that I felt was cool was an interesting challenge to take on. But like some of these others, I feel like Mega Quaquaval has a concept waiting in the wings for it, no pun intended, that works just about as perfectly as you could hope for. Since Quaquaval takes inspiration from a peacock, it naturally makes sense for a Mega Evolution to focus on its extra big tail feathers. So this Mega has them completely fanned out and fully on display. The thing about Quaquaval's feathers, though, are that they are water feathers, since this Pokemon is a water type. So I had the idea of turning them rainbow colored in the Mega, which fits with the colorful nature of peacock feathers, and also the fact that they're made of water, since rainbows are created by water. Additionally, Quaquaval also has a bit of a carnival theme going on as well, so a colorful design like this also works well with that too. So all things considered, it works just about as well as you could hope for a Mega Quaquaval in my opinion. It remains a water fighting type, and its stat boost I imagine would be pretty even across the board, given that Quaquaval's stats outside of its attack are also pretty balanced to begin with. It is now Empoleon's time to shine though, so without further ado, here is Mega Empoleon. Since Empoleon takes some inspiration from Poseidon, as can be seen with the trident on its face, and Poseidon just so happens to be a Greek god, becoming more god-like in its Mega seems to be a pretty natural way to go. Therefore, Empoleon gains a long beard as well as long hair that you can see flowing down its back, in addition to the other parts of its design also becoming stronger and all the more grand as well. Its wing blade fins have now become tridents in its Mega Evolution, so it now has a trifecta of tridents, and the protrusions on its shoulders that resemble a collar have now grown larger as well, which represents the ornate and often oversized collars that kings and other noblemen would wear during the days of Napoleon, which is another one of Empoleon's main inspirations. For stats, I would give it an extra 40 in speed to bump it up to that golden number of 100, and probably just put the rest into special attack and special defense, since that is what Empoleon is already specializing in. As one of my favorite starters, it would be absolutely amazing to get Mega Empoleon someday, but I would also love to see any of these starters get the Mega treatment. Let me know which one of these you would want to see happen the most in the comments, and leave a like if you enjoyed to support and help out the video. I will see you all soon with another one, and until then, as always, thanks so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.